Welcome to the New Life Stories channel. We hope you will have fun with us. Enjoy watching.
You mean nothing to me anymore. Never set foot in this house again, my father's harsh words echoed in my ears. I left the family home in tears as soon as I graduated from high school. My name is Amy, and I am now a 36-year-old farmer. It's been 18 years since I left my family hearth. From now on, the time I will spend in my chosen life will surpass the time I spent in my family home. The thought fills me with sentimentality. Our family home was in the city. My father worked for a corporation and my mother was a homemaker. It was a family of 4, including my elder brother who was born a year earlier than me. My parents were the type who made no secret of the fact that their children were rank, and my brother always took advantage. The food we ate and the grandiose birthday presents were invariably superior to his. He flaunted his supposed superiority and always belittled me. Loneliness and cries for attention haunted me as a child, but my parents remained adamant. Eventually I gave up. The turning point in my life came the summer of my sophomore year of high school. My brother, who was aiming to enter a top-tier university, was struggling due to poor exam results. Frustrated, he vented his anger on me. My parents, who treated him with utmost care like a fragile object, put me in charge of household chores, leaving no time for studying. Since I outperformed my brother academically, they tried to lower my grades to cheer him up. It didn't make any sense. It was during this time that a teacher at my high school mentioned the Rural Experience Program, a 2-night immersion into rural life. Students could live on a farm, harvest crops, and cook together. It was an opportunity to escape the toxic home environment, and I boldly signed up for it. Despite my father's objections, he always thought farming was an occupation for those who couldn't get a corporate job, and the taunts of my mother, who doubted my sanity for agreeing to do manual labor and get dirty in the dirt. I defied my parents' entreaties and used my pocket money to participate. It was the first time I went against their wishes, and it turned out to be a great decision for me. Starved for family love, I had a truly wonderful experience. Working in the fresh country air was invigorating, and I discovered the warmth of family. The host family's eldest son, John, was a year older than me and the same age as my brother. At first I was wary because of his age, but John was nothing like my brother. He was kind but firm, got along well with his parents, and was just as kind to me. John's parents were truly kind people. Even though it was only 3 days, parting from the farm left me in tears, and John's mom cried with me, saying, "You can come back any time." I promised I would definitely come back. Since they didn't use cell phones much, I started writing them letters regularly. Soon I started getting replies from John, and this evolved into a diary exchange. Eventually we started dating. A clean, long relationship without a single kiss. Since my brother couldn't get into the university of his choice and ended up at a third-rate private college, I became an applicant. However, my parents insisted that I get a job instead of a college degree. They argued that women don't need an education, but in reality, they were probably afraid I would get into a better college than my brother. Ever since I started living in the countryside, I dreamed of becoming a farmer. Although I could have become a farmer without attending college, John was a college student who had moved to the city. So I decided to go to college and strive for a new form of farming. Setting a clear goal for myself, I studied diligently every day despite the interference of my parents and brother. When I passed the university entrance exam, my father was furious and asked if I, as a woman, planned to study at a better university than my brother. My mother supported him by saying that they could not afford to support me because my brother needed money. Devastated by their words and a major fight, I decided to cut all ties with them. John took me out of the house, and his parents, now my parents-in-law, paid my college expenses, allowing me to attend. 4 years later, I married John and never once contacted my parents or brother during college. However, my in-laws insisted that we should at least let them know we were married. My husband said, as we prepared to visit my childhood home for the first time in 4 years, that the timing wasn't right given the planting season, so we weren't able to visit until early summer. Both my husband, my in-laws, and I had very tanned and weathered faces from working outside. When we arrived, my parents and brother openly ridiculed us. My mom asked, "No offense, but how old are you? You must be very poor to work until so dark." I felt ashamed and begged her to stop, but she paid no attention to me. My brother grinned and said, "Smart people like me make money through intellectual labor. If you can only do primitive work, it proves that you are not intelligent. I turned pale, and the gentle smiles on my in-laws' faces froze in amazement. My husband stated firmly, respectfully, "We are proud to be farmers." My father laughed indulgently and said to me, "To be clear, you are a stranger to us now. You are marrying a poor farmer who has to sweat and work hard. We're going to treat you as if you don't exist. It will be a problem if you come asking us for money. We don't want to see you anymore." Already disowned at the age of 18, I knew I was alone, even if I wasn't told that explicitly. Nevertheless, I tried to remain polite. The sympathetic looks from relatives and John were hard to bear. I cried quietly on the way home and decided to forget about my biological family. Time passed and 18 years flew by. The emotional wounds had completely healed. I gave birth to 2 children and my days were busy but fulfilling. Although I had virtually erased memories of my parents and brother, a cousin informed me that my brother was getting married. My cousin and I had always been close, and even after my marriage, we occasionally talked. Talking on the phone, I said, "I haven't heard anything about the wedding from my parents or my brother." "Well, since we are estranged from each other, of course I have no way of knowing about it. I heard they're building a new duplex. I wonder if they finished it. Apparently, both my parents and my brother and his wife are planning to move in after they get married." After finishing my phone conversation with my cousin, I impulsively dialed my mother's cell phone number. However, I was greeted with an automated message. "This number is no longer in use." I tried calling my father, and again the same automated message. Had they really changed their cell phone numbers? I didn't know my brother's number, so with trembling fingers I dialed my family's landline. My heart raced as I waited for someone to pick up. "Hello," my brother answered. "Brother, it's Amy," I said. I hesitated on what to say next and was about to say congratulations when my brother suddenly interrupted me. "You don't have to do anything. You're a farmer or a stranger to me. Don't call me," he shouted and hung up. I rushed to call him back but found that my number had already been blocked. It was brutal. No matter how much he hated me, we were still a family and it hurt to receive such rejection. Seeing my upset, my husband became concerned and gently asked, "What's wrong?" I couldn't hold back my tears any longer, and when I told him about this conversation, both my husband and in-laws were as furious as if it had happened to them. "Your home is here, Amy. Your family is with us," my mother-in-law reassured me. Her words moved me to tears and I wished she was my real mom. She cared for me much more than my blood mother. Comforting me, my father-in-law said, "You are happy now, and that's the main thing. You don't need to take offense. He who laughs wins," he added. My husband supported me. "Let's take a bad example from them and try not to make anything like this out of us." Even our children, not knowing the situation, hugged me tightly. "Thank you all," I said, feeling warm in my heart and realizing how happy I am now, despite not having a supportive biological family. However, everything changed abruptly when my business was featured on national television. My distant relatives, originally large grain farmers in the Midwest of the USA, who also grew various vegetables and fruits, had a lot of produce that didn't meet the standards. In college, I studied food business and spent a lot of time figuring out how to sell all this produce without losses. I started an online business selling jams, juices, and pickles made from slightly damaged vegetables and fruits that couldn't be sold in their original form. With the support of the local farmers union, my business was a huge success. It appealed to moms who wanted to feed their children safe locally produced products and to elderly people who wanted to try nostalgic homemade pickles. I founded the company with the help of young women who, like me, married into farming families and unemployed young people. The company grew into a $55 million business. Our success story was featured in a detailed report, and after the television broadcast, we received a lot of attention and calls from different people. Besides orders and inquiries, calls came in requesting deals and interviews. Calls kept coming to the company phone and my personal smartphone. So when a call came from an unknown number, without hesitation, I picked up the phone and found out it was my brother. Apparently, he saw the story about my success on national television. I thought he would genuinely be happy for me, but I was too naive. He simply wanted to borrow money to start his own business. I quickly and decisively turned down his request. He called and called again, continuously shouting, "Stop arguing and give me the money. If a woman like you can start a business and make money, then I'll definitely become successful too." It was ironic because earlier, my brother had declared me a complete stranger and an uneducated country girl when I was just a simple farmer. Instead of responding to my brother's pleas, I asked him why they didn't tell me about their move. His answer surprised me. He said, "My wife, a city girl. As soon as I mentioned you, she said we should cut ties." Not wanting to hear more, I hung up and blocked his number. I realized that my brother's wife seemed to have the same character as my brother and my parents. The fact that my brother saw me on TV could mean that my parents did too. A few hours later, I received another call from an unknown number, and it turned out to be my father. He asked in surprise, "How did you become a CEO? How did this happen? You weren't cut out for it." I explained that as he has known for a long time, both John and my father-in-law are involved in farming, so it's quite natural. We as a family worked hard for a long time to achieve this result. He looked somewhat puzzled and asked, "Why didn't you reach out to us?" I replied, "You disowned me." I hung up and blocked his number. A few minutes later, my mother called and demanded money. She said, "You make $500 million a year, don't you? Send money home. We are your real family." I explained that after expenses, taxes, and employee salaries, the business doesn't make $500 million, much less. My mom accused me of lying and stated that it couldn't possibly be true. My patience wore thin as my mom persistently demanded money. I couldn't help but be amazed that she felt no shame about it. "I'm not sending money to strangers, whether I have it or not," I firmly declared, then hung up and blocked her number. I thought that would be the end of it, but I was wrong. My parents, my brother, and his wife, whom I had never seen before, showed up uninvited at my mother-in-law's house. My father announced, "Hey, Emmy, want to hear a surprise? I'm canceling our confrontation." Their desperate need for money was evident. Even my mother-in-law couldn't hide her distrust and asked, "What's going on with you?" The discomfort was obvious, and my father-in-law and mother-in-law silently looked at my parents. Even the employees gathered, surprised, and stared at my parents. It was clear that my brother wasn't welcome either, but he responded, "True blood ties are us. We also have a right to the money you earn." The woman, who turned out to be my brother's wife, nodded in agreement with his words. I started to feel nervous. "I don't think so. Despite the blood ties, we had no connection for almost 20 years. You abandoned me. You disowned me, and now you're claiming our money. You treated me like a stranger, abandoned me, blocked phones, were ashamed of my farming work," I said. Emotional scars from being abandoned by my biological family resurfaced in my memory, and I was on the verge of tears again. At that moment, my husband John approached and stood beside me. "Emmy is now part of our family. We're absolutely happy. Please leave," he firmly defended me. Our employees also opposed my parents. Then I realized that this was my true place. I felt deep happiness. My brother became even angrier and shouted, "Shut up, country bumpkins. You're all uneducated rejects, aren't you? Just silently listen to what we're saying." But John calmly responded, "Well, my father and I finished Ivy League, and Emmy graduated from a renowned agricultural university." This revelation about our education seemed to catch my brother off guard. "Why do you engage in farming despite graduating from top universities?" he asked. John confidently replied, "Farming is a respected profession where we can fully utilize what we studied in college." I couldn't help but laugh amidst the tense situation. "Brother, you lost to John," I said, feeling a sense of relief. Perhaps I have been too afraid of my brother and parents. I wanted to say unequivocally for the last time, "We are already strangers." I paused, intentionally switching to a more polite tone. "So I cannot lend or give money to strangers. Please, I ask you to leave. If you cause disturbances or behave aggressively, I will call the police and take legal action." I made it clear that our ties were severed. My in-laws and husband moved closer to me to shield me from any harm my parents and brother might cause. I was deeply touched by their protection and felt truly loved. The employees also joined in, shouting at my parents to leave. My parents, brother, and sister-in-law looked at us with indignation, but they had no choice but to retreat. According to the story I later heard from my cousin, my brother and parents tried to quickly get rich through a business venture, accumulating debts. Instead of seeking financial help from me, their arrogant attitude led to failure, and now they were on the brink of bankruptcy. However, I had no intention of getting involved anymore. As for me, my business thrived, and I expanded it even more, working together with my dedicated team. The success of our enterprise allowed us to open new opportunities and have a positive impact on society. We continued to deliver high-quality, eco-friendly, and affordable products to our customers, and our business became a beacon of hope for those who believed in the power of hard work and resilience. The love and support I received from my husband John were an endless source of strength and inspiration. We cherished every moment, raising our wonderful children in a caring atmosphere filled with love and respect. With each passing day, the bonds between us grew stronger, and our home was filled with laughter and joy. Over time, I expanded relationships with my distant relatives, including a cousin who reached out to me during the challenging times of establishing our business. We formed deep connections based on trust, mutual respect, and shared values. It was evidence that family isn't limited to blood. It is built on love, understanding, and shared experiences. As for my estranged family, they continue to face their own problems and consequences. I wished them well from a distance but remained steadfast in my decision to focus on my own path. The scars of the past were no longer an open wound but served as a reminder of the strength and resilience I discovered within myself. In the end, my story became a triumph over adversity, a discovery of love and belonging in unexpected places, and the construction of a life based on my own values and aspirations. It became a testimony to the power of choice and the incredible ability of the human spirit to withstand and thrive in the face of difficulties. Over time, my business continued to thrive and evolved into a community-oriented enterprise. We started supporting local farmers and artisans, expanding our product range to showcase the potential of our region. As our children grew, we instilled in them the importance of hard work, empathy, and resilience. They experienced firsthand the significance of family, defined not only by blood but also by love and shared experiences. Our home became a refuge for them, where they grew and flourished, feeling loved, nurtured, and encouraged to pursue their aspirations. The support from my in-laws remained unwavering. They were not just relatives. They were the family I chose, and I couldn't help but be grateful for their love and acceptance. My mother-in-law, in particular, became a cherished friend and a trusted confidant, offering her wisdom and guidance as I navigated life's challenges. Meanwhile, my cousin and I continued to build strong and enduring relationships. Our regular communication allowed us to strengthen our bond, and we often met to share life's joys and hardships. In the broader context of life, I found solace in my decision to leave the past behind. While my estranged family faced their own trials, I focused on the present and future. My husband, my children, and the people around me became my pillars, reminding me that a loving and supportive family can be found in the most unexpected places. My story serves as a reminder that family is not just about blood ties. It is a connection born out of love, shared values, and mutual respect. I've come a long way from disowning my biological family, and this journey has made me stronger, more resilient, and deeply aware of the true meaning of family and the love that can be found in the most unexpected places.